Hello, and welcome to the 2024 BARS update for cash basis governments. On our agenda today are general BARS updates, some small online filing updates, and information on our project pages. Let's begin with our general BARS updates. Starting in the accounting section, the first update is to 3.1.7, Fund Types and Accounting Principles. If you have ever been on this page, you know that it is a long page and can be difficult to scroll through and find information that you are looking for. We are separating out the two topics, so now there will be a page for accounting principles, which will be 3.1.10, and fund types, which will be 3.1.7. Our next update is to 3.2.7, special assessments. We removed the GAAP references since these do not apply to our cash basis governments. In our 3.3.8 capital assets section, we have added clarification on routine repairs and maintenance that should be reported as normal expenditures. Costs that increase the capacity or efficiency of a capital asset should be reported as a capital expenditure using BARS code 594 or 595. We do have some updates to leases, SPIDA, and 3Ps. We have clarified accounting for variable payments that are fixed in substance. For example, you have a contract that says you will pay the greater of $5,000 or 5% of total sales. The $5,000 is fixed in substance, since you know that you will at least pay the $5,000. Fixed in substance payments are included in the liability calculations. So in our example, the $5,000 would be included in the lease liability. There is also now guidance for prepaid leases and SPIDAs. This is when you have a lease or SPIDA contract and just pay the full amount up front. Since you do not owe anything, this would not be reported on the schedule of liabilities, also known as the Schedule 09. Next up is 3.6.10, working advances from DSHS. Since working advances are loans, specifically intergovernmental loans, we will be moving this section to 3.4.7, intergovernmental and forgivable loans. In 3.8.12, election costs, since the Secretary of State has the authority over the allocation of election costs, we will be removing that specific guidance from the page and directing everyone to the Secretary of State's guide. We will still have the BARS codes and accounting guidance in the manual. In 3.8.1, unemployment and deferred compensation, and 4.8.9, Schedule 21, we have clarified that assuming a risk, not setting aside resources for future claims, is not self-insurance. What does this mean? If your risk management is to pay claims or benefits as they come up without setting aside resources, then you are assuming a risk and not self-insuring. For 3.4.3, bond revenue warrants, the RCWs from this page have now been repealed, therefore we will be removing this page. Moving on to 3.9.5, overhead cost allocation, we have removed the non-authoritative examples and added additional clarifications. As always, we have made some minor updates and clarifications to several BARS codes and BARS pages to address common questions. Moving on to reporting, Note 1, Summary of Significant Accounting Policies. We have updated this to include compensated absence policies, such as any cash out caps, any pay rate or percentages for cash outs. We have also added information about leases. In particular, if your government has a lease threshold, you need to disclose that. We have also added additional information on the purpose of funds outside of the general fund. What this means is that you will no longer just say, we have proprietary funds. You will now say things like, we have proprietary funds for our waste water, or whatever you are using your proprietary funds for. For Note X, budget compliance, we have added instructions for the managerial funds that have their own legally adopted budget, but are rolled into the general fund on the C4. These need to be reported in the budget compliance note, and we have added instructions on how to reconcile and disclose those additional funds in your note. Note X, long-term debt, will have an updated title that is changing to long-term liability. This updated note will include compensated absences, which will disclose the beginning liability, any changes to that liability, and the ending liability. We will also be moving interfund loans into this note. Since interfund loans are being moved to Note X long-term liability, we will be removing Note X interfund loans. We are adding Note X certain risk disclosures. This is a new disclosure which is required when all the following are met. A concentration or constraint is known prior to when financials are issued. The government is vulnerable to the risk of a substantial impact. In an event that could cause a substantial impact has occurred or has begun to occur within 12 months of the financial statement issuance. An example of what could trigger this disclosure would be something like a city has a large military base that is a significant source of revenue. The city learns that the base will be closing within 12 months. This would cause the city to lose a significant amount of revenue. With this update, there would be a new disclosure that would describe the concentration or constraint. In our example, that would be the military base, since it is a significant concentration of revenue. The event in our example is that the base is closing. And finally, any actions taken by the government to mitigate this risk. Moving on to BAR's codes, we have a new series. It is the 345 series for economic development. This series should be used to report proceeds from charges for goods and services, specifically related to the economic development function of the government. 34551 is for charges and fees for promoting and retaining local businesses and jobs. 34552 is for charges and fees collected for the purpose of promoting tourism and supporting existing tourism activities. We want to clarify that this code does not replace the existing 313 hotel motel tax codes. Only use this code if you are collecting additional monies related to tourism services. 34559 is for charges and fees increasing economic development not directly associated with business and job growth or tourism. We also have a new tax code, which is 31846, business payroll excise tax. A payroll excise tax is imposed by cities for the privilege of operating a business in the city. This tax revenue and the allowable expenditures should be included in the city's municipal code. We have also added a new liability code, 26313, self-insurance and risk pool claims liabilities. This is for the self-insurance and risk pool claims liabilities, such as open claims, incurred but not reported, and unallocated loss adjustment expense. Governments with self-insurance programs should only report a claims liability on the Schedule 09 if they have an actuarially determined liability. We have some minor annual filing system reminders and updates. As a reminder, as a government, you can unlock your annual report up until the audit is complete. Unlocking is super easy. All you need to do is click the blue unlock icon. If you have a gray icon, then you need to contact your audit team to have the report unlocked. If you just need to view the report, you can click anywhere in the dashboard other than the unlock icon. We have some minor updates to the annual filing system. For the Schedule 1, we have added the ability to export a list of all required and warning errors. On the Schedule 09, we have added a new question regarding audit deadlines for bonds to make sure that our office can work with you on meeting those deadlines. We have also changed the display of variances as official warning errors. On the Schedule 16, the other award ID required for all indirect awards and optional for direct awards. We have multiple new changes coming in 2024, which include accounting changes and error corrections, along with compensated absences. We do have detailed trainings on these changes on our coming in fiscal year 2024 project page, which can be reached by the QR code on your screen. We highly recommend that governments review these trainings since this is the year of implementation. Thank you for joining me today for the 2024 BARS update for cash basis governments. If you have any questions, please feel free to submit a help desk.